Hey, thank you for joining the First Metal Church of Christ. We're really glad to have you. Hey, be sure to go over to our social media platforms, like and follow, and be sure to check out our YouTube page. Be sure to subscribe and pass along with your friends as well. Some great messages over there. Our message today will be Remember Lot's Wife, and we'll be reading from Luke 17, verses 28 to 33, and we read these words. And the world will be as it was in the days of Lot. People went about their daily business, eating and drinking, buying and selling, farming and building, until the morning Lot left Sodom. Then fire and burning sulfur rained down from heaven and destroyed them all. Yes, it will be business as usual right up to the day when the Son of Man is revealed. On that day, a person out on the deck of a roof must not go down into the house to pack. A person out in the field must not return home. Remember what happened to Lot's wife. If you cling to your life, you will lose it. And if you let go of your life, you will save it. The 19th chapter of Genesis is about the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. But I would like for you to remember Lot's wife. I want us to try to remember the things about Lot's wife and what we can take and apply it to our life in some way. I don't want us to try to remember who Cain's wife is, but it seems that people are more interested in knowing where did Cain get his wife than to remember Lot's wife. A lot of people remember Sarah, Deborah, Ruth, Rahab, but this text tells us that we need to remember Lot's wife. Notice that the Lord does not even mention her name. I don't know if he did this out of kindness or what, but he didn't mention her name at all. In the Gospel of Luke, Christ is not talking to the Pharisees, nor is he talking to the Sadducees, but he's talking to the disciples. He's telling them to remember Lot's wife. Have you ever thought about the advantages that Miss Lot had? She was married to a godly man. She just wasn't married to anybody. The Bible calls Lot a righteous man. So, she had the advantages of being married to a godly man. She was married to a straight fella also because in the town that they lived, it was filled with homosexuals. She had the advantages of having the father of many nations as an uncle. The Lord chose Abraham to be the father of the faithful, and she is a niece by marriage. She had the advantages of talking to Abraham, the grand old man of God that was called out of the idolatrous city of Ur of the Chaldeans. She had the advantages of seeing Abraham triumph as he went out and fought against the people. She saw God give Abraham victories. She probably had the advantages of meeting Melchizedek, the high priest, that the foreshadowing of the Son of Man. She probably had the advantages to see Shem. She may have even talked to Shem. Shem was the oldest male that was living at that time. She, through marriage, was related to Shem. She probably sat at his feet and heard him tell stories about what they did on the ark. But there was no excuse for Miss Lot to lose her soul with advantages like that. There is no profit in affiliations. Ahaziah was the servant of Elijah. Demas was a fellow laborer of Paul. Judas traveled with the Lord for 3.5 years. It doesn't make any difference who your companions are when it comes to salvation. It doesn't make any difference who your family is either. You can be Absalom, the son of David, a man after God's own heart, and lose your soul. You can be Esau, a son of a godly man like Isaac, and end up being an Esau who likes to fight instead of a peaceful man like his father. You can be a son of Samuel, whose sons were so wicked that the people said, "We don't want your sons ruling over us," and causes Israel to stumble, and they want a king. You can be Saul and listen to Samuel, but it still didn't do Saul any good. It didn't do Ahab any good to sit and listen to the preaching of Elijah. It didn't do Agrippa, Festus, or Felix any good to hear the Apostle Paul preach. You can sit under the best preachers in the world, but it won't do you any good when it comes to the judgment. It doesn't matter what church you are a member of. You could be a charter member of the church in Jerusalem like Ananias and Sapphira and lose your soul. God shines on us in mercy, and some of us has the advantages of being raised in a godly home with godly parents, maybe under a godly preacher, and even have heard the best of preaching, and we are going to end up losing our soul because we don't remember Lot's wife. I would like for you to see what kind of woman Miss Lot was. God called Abraham out of the Ur of the Chaldeans. Abraham took his family with him, but God told him not to take his family with him. Mr. and Mrs. Lot chose the better part of the land. When they saw that land, they coveted Uncle Abraham. When a man is not faithful, he's going to fall into sin. She was an uncautious woman. The Bible says they cast their lots toward the tent of Sodom. But it's no time you find them down in Sodom. I don't want to be like Lot and call the wicked my brother. I don't want my moral soul twisted like Lot's, who said, I have 2 daughters who has never known a man. Take them and do what you want with them. You don't find Miss Lot saying, do you think we should cast our tent towards Sodom? You know that's a bad place, and we have kids, and what will happen to our kids if we move down there? Why do you think Lot stayed in Sodom? If it vexed your righteous soul from day to day, would you stay? I wouldn't stay in a community like that. I believe Lot's wife didn't want to go. The Bible doesn't say if it vexed her soul or not. She wasn't a good mother because she calls her daughters to marry the men of that city. Notice the Bible doesn't say if she was there when the angels came and warned them. I wonder where she was. She wasn't home and never got the message. They were mercifully warned in that they were going to destroy the city. Lot was told to take his family and get out. Now picture yourself in their home. Homosexuals are banging on the door trying to get in. Lot tells him, do not so wickedly, as he tries to reason with them. Then the men tell you, you know what you did to that fellow last year? Well, do that worse to you if you don't give us to these men. And the angel smote the men with blindness. Now you're aware these men are superhumans and supernatural beings here in your house. Now these men wearied themselves to find the door. The judgment upon these men still didn't change their nature. Picture just what happened. God is going to destroy the city. Angels are there in your house, and men are knocking at the door, and your heart is beating fast. Lot slips out the back somewhere and tries to warn his sons-in-laws. Now morning comes, and the sun is looking beautifully and peaceful, and the angels are taking them by the hand and leading them out of the city. But what did she go back for? Maybe a trinket? Maybe a wedding ring? It's too late to worry about anything now. Was it disobedience that made her turn back, or was it just curiosity? I don't know. What makes people look back? I mean, it was a turning back and looking. She was looking back to see what God said. I'm going to take away because these people are so wicked. These people are so wicked. What can we learn from Miss Lot? The dangers of looking back. The whole book of Hebrews was written to keep you from drawing back. Words like take heed, beware, to fear are words that warn us from turning back. God does punish. Both Peter and Jude draw the same lesson. God did destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. God did destroy the people of Noah's time. God did destroy Korah. God will destroy the angels who kept not their first estate. You see, God will punish and destroy. You can be convinced and not converted. You can start, but that's no sign you're going to finish. She tells me that she almost just doesn't count. It was a clear sunny day, and all of a sudden fire and brimstone fell from heaven and destroyed the city. Lot's wife turned back with a longing eye and was turned into a pillar of salt. She turned and saw the fire and brimstone fall, and her eyes were gazed upon the mass destruction. Mr. Lot tells me that Mrs. Lot tells me that judgment is coming. John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. John 3:36, he that believeth on the Son has everlasting life, and he that believeth not the Son shall not see life, but the wrath of God abideth on him. Mark 16:16, he that believeth and is baptized shall be saved, but he that believeth not shall be damned. Psalms 23, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. But people never finish. Psalms 9:17, the wicked shall be turned into hell, and all the nations that forgot God. The truth is, people don't like to think about hell, judgment, or even Jesus. People need to know that you believe in hell, the judgment, in Jesus. The Bible does not teach that there is a hell, and Jesus gave a great parable about the rich man and Lazarus to prove the reality of hell. A very important lesson about hell and what will happen to you if you go there. Judgment is coming. The only memories we have of this woman is simply Jesus' word. Remember Lot's wife. Her memory is left to warn us of the dangers of turning back. Sin and punishment have the same root word because one leads to the other. You cannot rest on your past experiences. You cannot rest on your church affiliation. You cannot rest on who your family was. You cannot rest on whom you have heard preach. But remember Lot's wife.